All right, it is 6 p.m. We will call tonight's meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by the students from Gardner-Edgerton High School. As we start the meeting tonight, just one quick note. Tom Redden and Lana Sutton were not able to join us today. Just for those that might be watching, it does take a quorum of 4 to hold a meeting, so we've been at that number for tonight, and we'll operate under normal operating procedures at that point. Brings me to item 1.3, the approval of the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve.
A second.
Excellent. With all in favor, we'll move on to item number 2, recognitions and presentations, with the first being item 2.1, presentation by the students from Gardner-Edgerton High School.
I'm Jaylene Freeman, and I'm the Real World Learning Coordinator at the high school. And then I brought one of my teachers, Gretel Shelton, and she teaches speech, and she partners with me on a big project. So I wanted to just talk about what client-connected projects are, what they look like in our building, and kind of the impact they're having on student learning. So here's a quick definition. It's where we give kids an authentic problem and a real person that's giving them that problem, and there's a lot of different solutions. Is this you telling me to talk into the mic? There's a lot of different solutions, and they are going to pitch, or they're going to present, or they're going to create something that they think solves that problem, but there could be many, many different solutions for that problem. Some of the characteristics of this look like it's open-ended, so there's not just one solution. It provides value to the client, whether it's ideas or a product or a website. And it involves them having to do some problem solving, some research, some project management, and at least a few weeks' time, because they're expecting to spend about 20 hours on this project. And then there's interaction with the client throughout. In some cases, we also provide like a mentor for them to kind of provide some guidance as they walk through the project too. So this is one of the big pluses is our class of 2028 has to have 2 PSAs. This counts as 1 PSA. So every time a student completes one of these, they're checking the box for one of those 2 post-secondary assets. So here's a few examples of, there's a lot of different iterations of this in our building. Sometimes a client comes to me and wants to partner with a student in our building. Sometimes a student has a project in mind and they want to work with a client. Or then Gretel's going to talk more about how we can embed it into a whole class, and a whole class of students can kind of get this experience. So these are some of our smaller projects. Last year was one of the biggest ones. It was the first one we did, and it was a big one. It's a food truck. So we had someone approach us. She had a silver medal food truck, and she sells like fruity lemonades out of it, and she wanted it decorated. And so we found Kinsey Savage and Brooklyn Pence, and then we later partnered with our collision classes, and they helped lay down some of the ground paint on it. But it started with them pitching concepts to her, and that's how it started. And then it went to the collision shop, and the collision students gave it a base coat so that they used it like a giant art canvas, which was probably the most time-consuming way that we could have solved this problem. But they were art students, and that's how they were comfortable working on it. And so we even brought in a mentor, Mr. Miller, to help them with like the lettering and to kind of get those finishing touches on. They thought it would take them a semester, and I think they finished it in April. It was gnarly, but they did a fantastic job. these same students, Kenzie Savage is kind of a CCP all-star in our building. She's a senior and we're going to miss her a lot. She also does some murals. So this one's under the mezzanine stairs. The Blazer Grounds, which is our coffee shop in the high school, they asked her to give them a mural right outside their storefront, so she did that. And then this is kind of her passion project. She wants to spread art more down into the lower grades more purposefully. So she's asked if she could host the first annual competition because she's keeping all of her files to hand down to an underclassman so they can do the second annual one next year. But she had to get some startup funds, which I think she tapped into our admin. I think I pitched in some real world learning funds. She's organized it all from the get-go. Tony Britt partners with her, but Kinsey runs it. And so it is April 24th, and it'll be in our building from 4 to 5:30 if you want to look at some art from elementary all the way up to the high school. They even found some of our retired art teachers to judge it for them. So it's going to be really cool. So she couldn't come. She was working, but she did answer a few questions for me so I could kind of have her talk. What have you learned during your client-connected projects?
I've obviously strengthened my art skills so much, but most of the growth has been in my soft skills, in learning how to connect and interact with people, adults specifically.
What have you learned during your client-connected projects?
I've obviously strengthened my art skills so much, but most of the growth has been in my soft skills, in learning how to connect and interact with people, adults specifically, in a more formal setting than typical high school students get to experience.
What adults have assisted you, and what did that look like?
Mrs. Britt has been my biggest mentor in the 2 years that I've done projects. She's been at my side through each one of them, and she lets me take the lead on all of them, but she still knows exactly when to help and how she can help. With the amount of projects I've done, there's been so many other adults and faculty members at Gardner Edgerton that have helped. Mr. Simpson helped get me funding for the art competition that is coming up in a few weeks. Mr. Boyer helped prep the food truck to have us start painting it, and then kept it in his shop for the year that we were doing it. And then Mr. Miller helped do the final touches on the food truck with the vinyl thing.
So then I wanted to go in. Whoops. I wanted Miss Shelton, Gretel Shelton. I guess you guys know her as Gretel Shelton, not Miss Shelton. But we partner on a big speech project. So every student that takes speech first semester and second semester this school year will get a client-connected project by successfully completing this. So I wanted her to talk a little bit about what that feels like as a teacher.
Okay. First, I want to thank Jaylene, because without people like her in a district, things like this don't happen. So she's really just opened doors to me. I came to her and I was like, pick me, Jaylene, pick me, use me. And she did. And so if we didn't have people opening doors, we wouldn't have this project. So it's a lot of work, and we really owe her a big thank you. So what does it look like as a teacher? Well, a lot of like moments where you feel like you're pulling your hair out, but you know what? It's worth it. It makes teachers grow. And as a district, I would think that you want teachers to be growing, you want students to be growing, you want, your admin to be growing. So really that's what it's all growth. And there's really three key areas. Critical thinking is huge. When you think about all the moving parts, for example, today I'm going to use an example. We had a client, and people got in front of that client, and probably because of me, the teacher, I probably made the mistake. Those kids were not really what that client expected. And so it's heartbreaking to me because I probably led them in a direction they shouldn't have gone down. But what they learned was they were failing right in front of the client. And the client was like obviously not happy. And so they had to change directions, and they had to try to go in a different direction, and they had to start experiencing all of those like little bit of failures that are happening all the time. And people that are in the business world, they know that happens all the time. and they have to learn how to critically think and also adjust and then deal with those adjustments. So critical thinking is massive, and we need critical thinking and more of it in our public education. Technical proficiency. We think that these kids know computers and they have it down pat. Well, you figure out real quickly that they might be real comfortable with their cell phones and other things, but when it comes down to formatting, designing slides, feeling really good about what they've done, they need some adult guidance on that, and they need to be talking to each other. And those kind of conversations and the ability to take risks and learn from that really helps with that proficiency. Soft skills, I would say over and above, that really just knocks out of the ballpark because they learn so many different things, like their etiquette, having to come in a room, and we discuss this, and have a firm handshake and look at the client in the eye. And even with the practice that we do in the classroom, they still struggle with that because they're still, some of them COVID babies, and I hate to even go there, but some of them are still struggling with that. So a lot of their soft skill competencies really are elevated. I did a little bit of research because I was like, okay, what can I tell the district about what it does overall? I would say just overall, it forces them to really yearn for high expectations in the classroom, and I feel like that's what the kids do because they know they need to show up for their partner. They need to show up for the presentation. They have to show up. So I looked, and I think it was, what foundation was it? It was an educational foundation that did this, a bunch of research. And they found that it elevates in so many areas. It elevates in attendance, elevating attendance. It elevates in their GPAs. It elevates them as far as their ability to take tests at a higher level. So what district doesn't want that, right? So I think this needs to be like what teachers do and what we just learn to grow, and Jaylene will help us with that. And so we just have to be willing to take risks. So.
We did ask, we've only been through one day, like we're in the middle of the spring presentations right now. There's 12 clients. We walked through 4 of the 12 today with, they each had about 5 presenters. And so these are some pictures from earlier today. But then we also asked the kids for some feedback on growth in these different areas. And as you can see, the green is really good. That means they felt like they have big growth as a result of participating in this project. And they felt like the most growth came out of planning and managing projects and then applying their learning beyond the classroom, which is, I think that's a really cool benefit of real world learning in general. So here's a little bit of data. It's not very technical. Our career and tech ed classes, we combine with real world learning so easily that it's already embedded in almost every pathway in some shape or fashion. Our core classes, like Ms. Shelton, are starting to buy in. So speech, she's got it embedded into her course first and second semester. Miss Anderson in English 9, she partnered with me and we did a project with the elementary students that worked into her classroom. And then Mr. Batterby, he's got those kids out in the real world doing projects in his field bio class already. I think it's starting to catch on with core teachers more and more, even though elective teachers, it's kind of a more natural fit into their curriculum. Last year, we had 300 client-connected projects completed. This year, we're already at 500, and that's not counting any of Ms. Shelton's spring speech classes. So I think we'll be over 600 by the end of the year. So we're really excited about it. It's starting to catch on. Kids, like when they get done, they say it was hard, but they really loved it, and they would want to do it again. So
Can I share one more thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so at the end of every semester, I always give the kids I want to be evaluated. And I say, don't just tell me everything bad. Like, I want to know how I can get better. And I say also, what was your favorite project? And just above everything else we did, all the fun activities, this was their favorite project. And there were times that there were tears, and they're like, we don't know what we want. I don't know what they want, blah, blah, blah. But they really just embrace this experience. And then they love it even more because they realize they leave with this competency that they didn't have before. So that's empowering.
So just to close it off, I went to it was for real world learning coordinators from all over the metro, and we were talking about the power of client connected projects and things like this. And they talked about the wobble, and they said when you become a teacher, you want to hold that bike seat and make sure they don't fall down, and you never let them have the wobble. But the wobble is like where the magic happens. Like we saw a lot of wobble last week when they were trying to get their pitches put together, and honestly, we kind of were consoling each other because we were like, they're not ready, they're not ready, they're not ready. And then they walked up, and every single team, they didn't have always the most magnificent pitch, but they all had a pitch. They all had their point of view. They all presented. That's kind of unheard of, to get 100% participation, and that's what we had today. So the wobble is kind of like the beauty of real world learning, because they kind of had to try it on their own and see what happens. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, that will bring us to item 2.2, the winter activities and athletics recognition with GEHS Athletic Director Jason Radel and GEHS Activities Director Michael Simpson.
Wait for these guys to get up here. Just come up and stand right in front. First off, I want to say thank you to the board, Dr. Huff, and our district leadership for the opportunity to recognize our winter sports tonight. My name is Jason Radel, and I have the privilege of being the athletic director at the high school, and I'm excited to share some of the highlights of our winter seasons. Our boys basketball program began building a foundation for the future. Coach Edwards came in a few weeks before the season and hit the ground running. Led by seniors Sean McConnell and Briggs Cunningham, the Blazers battled each week. Coach Edwards and the kids faced challenges head on, and we're really proud of what they showed. We are happy to announce that Coach Edwards will be our coach of the future, and he is also joining our teaching staff at the high school next year, so we look forward to the future there. The girls basketball team ended the season with a 10-13 record. They had a great showing at sub-state before losing to eventual state runner-ups. Landry Schaefer was first team All-League, and Claire Beasley, Morgan Beasley, and Kylie Kyle were also recognized as All-League. We're definitely going to miss our seniors, but look forward to the future of our girls program. Our bowling program was led by senior Caden Fireburn this year. He just signed last Friday to compete in bowling in college. He was a state qualifier this year. He was on the state team that went last year, but this year he went as an individual and had a solid finish in a loaded boys division. Our powerlifting team had another very successful season. They competed at the state tournament, and both boys and girls came away 6A state champions for the second year in a row. Coach Trowbridge and Coach Washington have done a great job with our powerlifting program. The boys are now back-to-back-to-back state champions, and the girls are back-to-back. So congratulations on a great accomplishment there. Now for these guys. Our wrestling program had another great season. Our boys program finished third in the league and followed that up with a regional championship. The boys had 2 regional champions and put 10 wrestlers into the state tournament. Roman Klaus would make the finals for the second year in a row. Roman has had quite the career at GHS, and we're definitely going to miss him. He's a senior this year. He and Naomi Mayfield both surpassed 100 pins this year, which is a phenomenal stat. If you know anything about wrestling, that's incredible. The boys team was also first team All-State academic. The girls team continues to make history. This year they won the league and dominated a really strong regional. They qualified 13 for the state championship, with 5 making the finals. Freshmen Aspen Walker and Brylan Jackson would join juniors Jaden Klaus and Maddie Riedinger and sophomore Josie Klaus in the finals at state. All 5 girls had great matches, with B. Jackson coming out as a state champion. With this effort from all 13 girls, they would finish second overall as a team, the highest any of our wrestling teams have ever finished at a state tournament. The future is very bright with these guys. In addition, Coach Courts was voted by his peers as the Girls League Coach of the Year, 6A East Regional Girls Coach of the Year, and the Kansas Wrestling Coaches Association Girls 6A State Coach of the Year. He credits our kids and his staff for these honors. The girls were also state champions academic, so very, very proud of them and how hard they work, not only on the mat, but in the classroom. We're very proud of all our student athletes in these groups mentioned here tonight. Our kids do a great job of representing us in competition, but also great young people. We are always very thankful for the support that we receive from the board, district leadership, and our staff, and especially our community. We couldn't find this success without all of them. I'm going to get a mic and let them introduce all themselves. Is it on? Hang on. Test. There we go. All right. Give your what year you are too.
Hi, I'm Griffin Fisher, and I'm the class of 2028.
I'm Roman Klaus. I'm a senior.
I'm Jaden Klaus. I'm a junior.
I'm Aspen Walker. I'm a freshman.
Annalise Elliott. I'm a sophomore.
I'm Madeline Reedinger. I'm a junior.
I'm Sage Peterson. I'm a junior.
I'm Saoirse McCall. I'm a senior.
I'm Layla Scott Pearson. I'm a senior.
I'm Naomi Mayfield, and I'm a senior.
As you can all see, they're still young. I mean, we only have 3 seniors out of this group, so we're really excited about what the future is. Thank you.
So you got 5?
My name is Mike Simpson, and I'm the activities director at the high school. Thank you for the opportunity to share some highlights of our activity successes at the high school this winter. I also want to thank the board, Dr. Huff, the central office administration, and our building administration for the support of our students and programs. I also would like to echo what Ms. Freeman shared. We are hosting that first annual district art contest. I came from a place where this was a huge deal. This has been a dream of mine for 5 years. Kinsey and Miss Britt came to me. They're super excited. This is going to be awesome. But it is April 24th. You are all welcome. There's a reception, as she said, from 4 to 5:30 that evening. It'll be in the Ox Gym. So please come. Support the kids. And it'll be all of our kids K-12. Super excited. I'm going to go through several of our groups. We'll talk about this lovely young lady here in a minute. Our cheerleading squad, our competitive cheerleading group, once again headed to Orlando in February and competed in the National Cheerleading Championships. They were unable to advance to the semifinals this year, but we're grateful for their hard work and dedication. They work very hard. A talented group. Our dance team, our competitive dance team headed to Orlando in February as well. They had the opportunity to take some master classes again from respected teachers in the dance community. This year, they finished 16th place in the country in their palm routine. They had a great run. I was super proud of those girls. I've had the opportunity to travel with both those groups before, and they work incredibly hard in those opportunities, so we're grateful for that. Our Scholars Bowl team had the best year they've had in quite a while. They competed in a very difficult regional competition and were unable to qualify for state. Our color guard, and I'll let her introduce herself here in a little bit. This young lady's part of our color guard team. I think they call it winter guard at this time, the competitive piece. Our winter guard competed at a top-level regional competition in Missouri as well as traveling to Arkansas this year. They had their showcase performance at our school recently. I hope you were able to come. I was impressed. They're fantastic. If you get a chance to see them, the growth in these kids over the last 3 years is remarkable. Like, they're not just, like, they're really good. If you get a chance to come watch them, you should. We are excited to announce they've found a competitive circuit much closer to home for the next year, so we're looking forward to that. Our debate team qualified 4 students for the state 2-speaker competition. Lorelei Byers, Emma Bridgewater, Jack Steele, and Sierra Lynch had a strong showing for the Trailblazers. The team also qualified 8 students for our novice state, which is reserved for first-year debaters only. Colby Short, Sierra Lynch, Abigail Droege, Maisie Coleman, Henry Owen, Jack Steele, Casey Wowert, and Gideon Ryder all represented us well. This past Sunday, the Fine Arts program had several students compete at the Shooting Stars Gala at the Johnson County Community College. Alexa Reeder, Milo Powell, Alyssa Yanez, Trey Motter, Vanessa Perez, Kinsey Savage, Mackenzie Hubner, Brianna Crowder, and Matthew Bryan were all finalists. Our robotics team had a rebuilding year after they graduated some key seniors. There was a lot of growth, and they gained some good experience this year. We look forward to seeing them shine next year. And finally, we hope you'll join us this spring for our spring musical, April 23rd, 24th, 25th, and 26th. And this year we're performing Freaky Friday. So we hope you'll come out and enjoy that. And now I'm going to have this young lady introduce herself.
I'm Audrey Heinz, I'm a junior. I'm with Winter Guard.
I appreciate her being here to represent the team. Thank you for the opportunity.
No, don't go anywhere. You gotta take your picture. You can tonight.
Gotta get some pictures.
Excellent. That brings us to item 2.3, the 25-26 Kansas Teacher of the Year recognition by Dr. Ben Booth.
Thank you, and good evening, everybody. If we made them stand up there, you can too. So, all right. It is my privilege to introduce these two. So, as you remember, the Kansas Teacher of the Year program aims to identify, recognize, and utilize representatives of excellent teaching in the state's elementary and secondary classrooms. So first, congratulations to Dr. Selena Riddell on your right, a second grade teacher at Nike Elementary who has been selected as our Elementary Teacher of the Year. Dr. Riddell is an extraordinary educator whose work reflects both instructional excellence and visionary leadership. As a second grade teacher at Nike Elementary, Dr. Riddell has built a reputation for creating classrooms where literacy, inclusion, and belonging are not just goals, but lived experiences. Her application highlights a teacher who meets students with creativity, precision, and care, designing learning environments that honor each student's strengths and needs. She has distinguished herself not only through her outstanding classroom practice, but also through her commitment to ensuring every student feels capable, valued, and inspired to grow. What our team can also acknowledge, the Ed Services team, is what makes her especially remarkable is her impact beyond her own classroom. She has helped shape school and district culture through curriculum leadership, inclusive programming, mentorship, community building initiatives that bring students, families, and colleagues together. She's led literacy and professional learning efforts that including clubs such as STEAM clubs, STEAM experiences, and civic engagement projects. And she demonstrates that education is strongest when it's collaborative, innovative, and based in service. Throughout her application and experiences, letters of support, one message is clear, and that is Dr. Riddell is a leader made of substance, humility, and action, whose influence strengthens not only student achievement, but the very culture of her school and our district. She is the kind of educator who elevates everyone around her and exemplifies the highest ideals of the profession. So we're extremely proud of Selena. Yep. That's worth a round of applause. All right. Next up is Miss Jennifer Wells, a 6th grade teacher at Wheat Ridge Middle School, who is our secondary teacher of the year. Miss Wells is a remarkable educator whose career reflects excellence, steadiness, and deep care for students. Over 24 years in education, including her current service as a 6th grade social studies teacher at Wheat Ridge Middle School, she has distinguished herself as a master teacher who brings learning to life through engaging hands-on instruction and meaningful relationships with students and families. She is a teacher who not only builds strong academic foundations, but also creates classrooms where students feel seen, valued, and inspired. Her work in project-based learning, her ability to connect history and civic understanding to students' daily lives, and her commitment to making learning relevant and memorable speak to the very best of our profession. Just as impressive is the leadership Jennifer brings beyond her classroom. She has served her school community through the Behavior Intervention Support Team, coaching volleyball, sponsoring student organizations, mentoring colleagues, and helping shape a school culture rooted in consistency, belonging, and support. One theme rises above all others. Jennifer leads with presence, compassion, and purpose. Students, families, and colleagues all describe her as someone who notices needs, builds confidence, and leaves a lasting impact on the lives of young people. Jennifer represents the kind of educator every district hopes to have and every student deserves, which is an accomplished teacher, a trusted leader, and a daily champion for the students in her care. So congratulations to you as well. There's a base, so they'll separate.
Excellent. That will bring us to item 3, commendations and notes of appreciation. Tonight we do have an item on the agenda in recognition of Autism Awareness Month, and that will be provided to us by Julie.
Hey, April is Autism Awareness Month, and acceptance now is what it's called. Today's more about awareness. It's all about understanding, inclusion, and respect. Autism awareness invites us to learn, to recognize that autism is not a limitation, but a different way of experiencing the world. It's about seeing strengths along challenges and realizing that every autistic individual has a unique voice, perspective, and set of abilities. Autism acceptance takes it a step further. It asks us not to judge differences, but to embrace them, to create spaces where individuals feel valued for who they are, not to ask to change or fit a mold. Acceptance means listening, supporting, and advocating for inclusion in our schools, workplaces, and communities. This month, we celebrate neurodiversity, we honor resilience, we We stand with individuals and families who navigate a world that doesn't always understand, but can learn to. So let's move beyond awareness into action. Be patient, be kind, be inclusive, because everyone deserves to belong exactly how they are. That's all I got.
Thank you very much, Julie.
I looked up a few times, yay.
That's for item 4, hearings and requests and suggestions. We have no patrons signed up for this evening's meeting, so we'll move on to item number 5, grants and donations provided tonight by Jeff Miller.
Okay, for Madison Elementary, donated by Network for Good, was $100. Also for Madison Elementary from Papa John's, a percentage of the sales from Madison Night, which was $64.41. For Trail Ridge Middle School, Price Chopper donated cookies in support of Family Fun Night, 150 cookies, approximately $100. Again, for Trail Ridge Middle School, HTQ, Family Fun Night, 12 gallons of tea, approximately $80. Again, for Trail Ridge, Blue River Plumbing, Family Fun Night, paper goods and water for 250 people. For Wheat Ridge Middle School, the Wheat Ridge PTO donated school supplies for classroom. It was calculators for Pennington's classroom. Gardner Edgerton High School, the donor was Union Station of Kansas City, provided an experience for Teacher Appreciation Week, 4 tickets to Science City, and Arvin Gottlieb's Planetarium. And also for Gardner Edgerton High School from New Life Church, breakfast for teachers during parent-teacher conferences in February. That was $300, and that's a total of $464.41 plus supplies. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you, Jeff, and as always, thank you to all those members of our community for supporting our teachers, students, and schools. That brings us to item number 6, the consent agenda. Item 6.1, the minutes of the regular meeting held on March 9th, 2026. 6.2, financial statements. 6.3, modification to the 26-27 school year calendar. 6.4, the approval of contracts and purchases. 6.5, the approval of the ID assurances, LEA VIB with special services. 6.6, the memorandum of understanding and approvals. 6.7, the declaration of surplus property. 6.8, the 26-27 non-resident enrollment approvals. 6.9, returning administrator and technology staff contracts for 26-27. And 6.10, approval of claims. I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve all as presented.
I'll second.
The consent agenda is approved. We'll move on to item number 8, reports for the department presentation. Leading off, Dr. Huff.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our April meeting. It's good to have everybody here. It's an exciting time of year. We just got done with prom this past Saturday, always a very fun time for our kiddos. And we've got graduation coming up May 16th at 10 o'clock, so I'd invite all of you to come to that wonderful celebration. It is also the end of the year, end of the school year coming, and so parents out there, encourage your kids to do their best coming up to the end of the school year. We've got state testing going on even currently, so a lot of important things as of yet to happen here in Gardner Edgerton. Also, I need to draw attention to an item that we didn't get on the agenda tonight that should have been on the agenda tonight, but we'll also put in the notes that goes home to everybody, it goes out on the email. Our strategic plan was set up by the board in our March special board meeting. So the board came, we went through the strategic plan and got it all solidified. We want to get public comment on it if there's any public comment that's to be had. So we were going to have that as an agenda item tonight. That did not get on the agenda, but we will put it out to everybody because really all we wanted to do is get it out to the public. So we'll have that out to everybody today, and then we're going to vote on that strategic plan at the May board meeting. And that is all I have.
Excellent. Item 8.1, and now 8.2, comments by the Board of Education. Okay. Julie?
No, I got something to show. See, it's up there. See, we tried. Okay, so I'm part of the Leadership for Tomorrow program, and it involves 28 educational people within the state. It's got school board members, district leaders, superintendents, and some board presidents. What I did was last weekend I started, and we went to Shawnee Heights. This is our group of people that where we're all from in our group photo. That was all our day Thursday training. Friday we went to Shawnee Heights. Shawnee Heights is a 5A school, a little bit smaller than us. 4 elementaries, a middle, a high school. Some highlights here. I'm going to just buzz because they're putting them on a timer. They also have a district-wide program. This Quantum, if you haven't heard of this, they have these 8 core values on the far side, and they are plastered everywhere from pre-K to high school. And all the kids know at least one of the values. By the time you get to high school, you learn them all. The big thing is, this is it. That's the one that the little kids know, and they understand, and then they go to the next one, and the next one. It's a really cool program. And then they have some student-led programs. They have a bank. It's pretty cool. They also have digital printing office and then a coffee shop. They're all ran by students, just supervised by teachers. What they have as challenges are like ours, but a little bit different. Aging facilities, transportation, alternate school, behavior challenges are increasing, business and industry within their district, and staffing of buses, subs, and everything else. This is their current bond. This is their second time go around with their bond. The first time, it didn't pass because they're not a growing community. So what they did was they revamped everything, and everything here in the blue in the pictures, that's all that they're concentrating on for this bond, and it got approved because they're not growing, but they need changes, they need updates because it's an older town. What they had was they're a quarter mile long, just with this building. Right in the middle, they had a flood. One of the water mains broke right underneath the floor, took out their flooring. So what they did was they revamped their weight room. Cool, state-of-the-art weights, all that fun stuff. And then they're 18 to 21, they have, there's this called STARS. Their program sells a lot more than ours does, but we can get there. They have t-shirts, they have dog bandanas, they have signs, they have, they sell cake pops on Fridays to everyone in the high school. They make money. They're earning money to go on a field trip as a class in June to St. Louis. Pretty interesting. And every district should have a greenhouse. Not just to sell plants and flowers and succulents, but it helps. It helps sustain our environment. They're starting to grow vegetables, and they just want it to take off. They just started in 24, according to the middle, and it's this big so far. And that is all I have. Next on my agenda is April 30th through May 1st, where I'm going to Columbia and Fredonia. That's all done.
Thank you, Julie. I did also just want to follow up on Dr. Huff's note with prom coming this week, and I just wanted to extend a thank you to all the staff members that spend so many hours, so much time off the clock to make that such a special night for all the kids. And then also after prom this year, I saw a few pictures. I don't know the numbers, but it looked way bigger than I've seen in the past, and there must have been a lot of extra effort going in to put on that event to keep our kids safe that night. So thank you to all the teachers that are making those special nights happen for our students, and of course the families behind the scenes and the students for enjoying themselves in a way that we all can be proud of. Excellent. That will lead us to item 9.1, old business. First item of business is the board vacancy, which was tabled at the last meeting. Obviously, that's something that we want to make certain that we have the full board available for the evening. We've notified the candidates. So at this point, I'd entertain a motion to table that until the May meeting when we expect to have all 6 board members back in attendance.
I'll make a motion to table it.
I'll second.
Excellent. The motion is passed and the item is tabled until the next meeting. That brings us to item 10.1, new business for the naming of the new elementary school, which will be provided to us by Dr. Huff.
All right, good evening again. So we are going through a process of naming the new elementary school. I want to thank all of the patrons who submitted their ideas on what the school should be named. We had pages and pages and pages of submissions. And so this first stage, the board went through and picked out their top three. And they submitted those top three to Deb, who compiled all of them. And so you have them listed there as 12 potential names. So this next, actually, I'm looking back at Alyssa. Where'd she go? We're going to post this tomorrow. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Ben. We are going to post tomorrow the link for everybody to then vote on one of these 12. So the board, by the next board meeting, is going to get a ranking of those by our patron vote. Now, I will point out to our patrons that the ranking vote that you all do through this survey in the next month does not necessarily make the winner. So the top vote getter won't necessarily be the top name or the name that we end up choosing. That will still be the board's decision, but that is input that you all will have for next month. And so next month, the May agenda item will be specifically narrowing it down to one with all the information that we have. So we have that in front of us. It should be a fun time.
Excellent. Again, that list will be provided tomorrow through the district communication channels, and we would love as much feedback as possible, so watch for that. Now that brings us to item 10.2, executive session for personnel with Dr. Huff, Dr. Booth, and Mark Meyer. Gentlemen? Okay. Yeah, pretty close.
Motion to go into executive session to discuss the Human Resources Personnel Report pursuant to non-elected personnel, exception under comma, and the open meeting will resume in the boardroom at 6:55 p.m. The board would like to invite Dr. Huff, Dr. Booth, Mark Meyer into executive session.
I'll second.
Excellent. We are back in session. That brings us to item 10.3, action on personnel.
I'll make a motion to approve as presented.
I'll second.
Excellent. With the motion passing, that will bring us to item 11.1, adjournment.
Okay, I make a motion to adjourn. Our next meeting is May, what?
No, we will have a special meeting.
Oh, we have a special meeting April 30th.
I'll second.
27th. That's all right. Perfect. The meeting's adjourned. That does bring us to the next special meeting on Monday, April 27th, to discuss the options on setting boundaries and initiating that process further. Thank you, everyone.